Other instances where the police are able to do a search or seize property without a warrant include a stop and frisk. Stop and frisk is where the police officers have stopped you either to question you or to yeah, possibly on reasonable suspicion that something may have been going on. They have the right to search you without a warrant. All they can do is a stop and frisk. The reason by frisk, they just pat you down. The reason behind this is that that's a safety search. If they stop somebody to talk with somebody and that person is carrying a weapon, police officers need to make sure and ensure their safety, and so they are able to do a basic frisk to make sure, or pat down to make sure that you are not carrying any weapons. If during that frisk they find something else that is a valid search, and they are allowed to seize whatever they find on that valid pat down. Courts have held that U.S. border searches are legal. They are allowed to go through and search when you're crossing through borders. Additionally, they are allowed to use drug-sniffing dogs. That is not a violation to have dogs that are able to sniff luggage or any carry-ons that you're carrying. And then finally, if you give consent, there's no reason that the police have to go and get a warrant. So when a police officer asks you if they can search something, if you say yes, there is no reason that they would have to get a warrant. Assuming that the police have a valid warrant, that doesn't mean that that warrant goes on forever. Because a police officer has the right to come in and search your home does not mean that that right continues on to next month, to next month, to next month. There is a reasonable amount of time that the police must execute that warrant. Typically on the warrant itself it will say when and where that warrant is to be executed. There are times that the time may be stretched just a little bit, but typically it has to be an immediate search. I say that typically it has to be. There are times where the police may or may not, where they may not know exactly where something is going to happen or exactly when something is going to happen. For instance, if they are waiting for a shipment of illegal drugs, they may not know exactly when that will be shipped or where that will be shipped, and so they may be watching. They can get what is called an anticipatory warrant to say this is what we are looking for, this is how we plan to execute it, and it should be, and they'll give a reasonable amount of time, but the specificity does not need to be there where this is an anticipatory warrant. Other limitations where a warrant may not be held to be valid: the first being the timeliness, that it may expire. The second is that if the warrant is not specific enough, vagueness is a reason where that warrant can be quashed, meaning it's no longer valid. If you do not specifically state what it is you are looking for or where you are going to search for it, that warrant may be held to be invalid. If a warrant is held to be invalid either because it is too vague or because it is not timely, the exclusionary rule applies. So anything that you get with that warrant now is excluded from evidence. Police are not, if that is successfully introduced, the police are not able to use that evidence. And so anything that they had found out is never going to get to the jury, and all of that evidence will be excluded. It's a pretty harsh remedy for either executing a search without a warrant or where the warrant is invalid. It completely excludes any of that evidence.